It's Wednesday on Your View. Welcome to the show. I am Murayo Afolabi Brown. As always, I have the ladies with me. Hello, Dr. Obiajili Ugo. How are you today?
I'm doing amazing. Excellent morning, everyone. So I'm done with my shoots. I'm resetting my brain.
Hey, congratulations.
Thank you for other things now. I have some projects lined up, but I want to take it one day at a time. I've also not had time to do my one-on-one coaching. Some of my clients have been pending.
Yeah.
So from next week, you guys can start coming back. I'm ready for you. So it's just me realigning, taking a break and realigning myself at least before the major holiday comes. Yeah.
Fantastic. How are you doing, Mariam? Birthday girl. I didn't see any videos online. Did you do anything at all yesterday?
She did codedly.
Did you post? We didn't see pictures. We didn't see any activity.
But that's just me now. You know now.
Yeah,
That's my style.
But what did you do?
But I spent, so of course, yesterday was working day, kids were in school, husband not around, so it was me day. I took myself out, I had lots of fun. I went to see a couple of friends, a friend of mine who is also getting married,
Nice.
So it was for me.
You did exactly what you wanted to do.
Yes, but I have to thank everyone for the love. First of all, I was getting calls. Where are you? Your view lady said they are going to storm your house. Everyone kept using the word storm. I said, I don't watch the show. I've been out since. So like they didn't storm, but they stormed in my heart. They are just wonderful ladies. They always show up for me no matter what. But yesterday was a working day, so I understand. And for all the love on social media, the messages. Like, people saying you happy birthday, but some people took their time to write me messages I knew that were heartfelt and honest and genuine. And I thank you, all of you, for your prayers and your well wishes. Thank you so much. And of course, my children, my daughter, she had decorated it as much as she could, created a nook so that she and I could have dinner. Just had a lovely time yesterday.
Beautiful, blessed.
The calls.
Good.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Hello, Amaka Fresh in the building. How many of these glasses do you have?
I have like 100.
Because it's a different
It's a new one.
I thought like it was terrible. We are worse.
Actually, I have like 100 because, when you wear glasses, I'm wearing glasses since like 2. And so you need to make it, you need to make it fashionable. Yeah, more fashionable. Yes, and then I have this boil inside my left eye, so it's giving me like this numb headache. Like, it's not even funny at all. Yeah. And then most especially today is my niece's birthday, my sister's daughter, Christabel. I was there in Canada the day she was born.
Wow.
She's mini me, she behaves like me, she loves makeup. Anytime I'm in Canada, she has to help me do my makeup and stuff. Christabel, I want to say happy birthday. I can't believe it's 6 years today. Wow, you're such a big girl. I love you so much.
Good.
Happy birthday, Christabel.
Yeah.
Happy birthday,
Happy
Christabel.
birthday, darling. So today is Okwe's mom's birthday. She's 60 today.
Happy birthday.
I just saw Okwe's post here. So happy birthday to Mama Okwe.
Happy
She's
birthday
sent
to
to
Okwe.
be many
Yeah.
more happy years for her.
Oh.
My son, God.
Yes, I always remember her by her puff puff. She makes amazing food.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Nice.
I've
We
not
have
tasted
some.
that before.
Yeah.
Are you sure you?
We need to have some.
I haven't.
I don't know. Was
I
her
haven't
sister's wedding? We went for the wedding.
Oh, I
Then
remember.
I was doing like serious keto, but once the one puff puff just passed my nose like this. I had
I
a
love
lot.
heavenly. We should order some, yeah.
All right, let's go on a short break. When we return, we'll look at the front pages of the papers. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Okay, we're going to start with The Nation. Minimum wage, Labour hopeful of better deal. Tinubu relieves fond memories of mom at play presentation. Air Force promotes retirees and 4 officers. How Emefiele moved millions to wife by witness. Government to pay 36-month salary arrears of Unity School teachers. FAN subsidizing 19 unviable airports, says CEO. Varsity workers protest over outstanding pay rocks campuses. NPAN expresses concern over safety of Alabelewe and Abdu. And finally, federal government gets Ministry of Livestock Development. Okay, which story are we starting with?
Let's start with the major headline, the new minimum wage. They said the bill will soon be sent to the National Assembly Trade. This was according to the Trade Union Congress President, Festus Osifo, yesterday, and he also allayed concerns of delay saying that President Bola Ahmed Tinubu was consulting Labour and also reaching and holding conversations with various other stakeholders. And he said Labour expects that what will be submitted to the National Assembly will actually be a minimum wage that will cater for the poorest of the poor. He added that they are doing some level of internal work so that the bill will be submitted, very soon. And they are insisting on the 250,000 naira benchmark as the ideal minimum wage. He also said that the Labour met again with the Minister of State for Labour and Employment, Secretary to the Government of the Federation, and other government officials, towards the acceptable minimum wage. So meetings are going back and forth, and hopefully we'll be able to get good news at the end of the day.
Yeah, I have the former CBN governor. He was in court yesterday, and Ikeja Special Offences Court, and the court heard how the former CBN governor, Emefiele, would transfer millions of naira into his wife's account. There was a witness, her name Mrs. Ifoma Ogbonaya. She was an assistant bank manager at the time, and she said that millions of money was moved into several tranches into several companies' accounts. And as we know, Emefiele is standing trial over the abuse of his office, alleged $4.5 billion and $2.8 billion fraud before the court. His lawyer had also asked that he be granted his leave so that he could go abroad for medical reasons. But the EFCC lawyers are saying that they do not think that it's safe, that he can trust that once he gets his passport and he would not disappear. And that and there's no evidence to show that his illness cannot be treated here in Nigeria. But some of the transactions, going back to the transactions that happened in the ex-CBN governor's wife's name, Margaret Emefiele, they said that she would ask this particular manager to make these transfers, and they would be sent to these companies. There was one called Amswith Resources and Solutions, Limelight Dimensional Service Limited, OMEC Support Service Limited, and Mango Farms. And she says all of them had, in the end, were being signed off by Mrs. Emefiele, so she knew that they all went to her. But she used to reach out to her by emails, phones, WhatsApp, whatever, and the monies went to her.
Okay, another story.
Okay, so I have the non-academic workers of public universities in the country yesterday embarked on a one-day warning protest over the non-payment of their 4-month salary arrears. The peaceful protest on campuses of the universities and the Nigeria French language village in Badagry, Lagos State, was coordinated by the Non-Academic Staff Union of Educational and Associated Institutions and the Senior Staff Association of Nigerian Universities. They said their National Executive Committee members would meet tomorrow to plan a national protest in Abuja if the federal government did not meet their demands. The Abuja protest, according to them, will serve as a signal to an indefinite strike that will lead to a shutdown of administrative functions of the public universities. They also lamented that the workers who appealed to President Bola Tinubu to wade in the matter lamented the hardship they and their families have been subjected to because of the non-payment of the arrears, especially with the economic hardship in the country. Lamented that the Tinubu administration has been making unfulfilled promises and signed the memorandum of understanding. But then they are saying that during the tenure of President Buhari, that they had all these meetings and negotiations, MOUs were signed, and that they can't believe that right now with the Tinubu administration, the same thing is still going on, and that they have worked for these monies, they should be paid, and they should not be treated differently from the academic staff.
Right. Okay, so our president yesterday went emotional as he relived memories of his late mom, Alaja Abibatu Mogaji. It was during the preview stage play called Abibatu Mogaji, the play, written by renowned playwright Professor Hamed Yerima and produced by one of our own, Ola Awakon. The president recounted how his mother's breast served as his first restaurant. Mama's grandson, which is Sheyi, said, my grandson didn't partake in my first breakfast with Mama because my first restaurant was her breast, my first toilet was her lap, and my first ever bedroom was her back. He also praised Ola Awakon repeatedly for his thorough research and the thoughtful presentation of the life of his mom and a prominent businesswoman who was the Yaloja General of Nigeria. She died 2013, as many remember, and he pledged to invest in Nigeria's arts and culture sector, and was a good I was happy for Ola because he's one of TVC and it was good for him. That's one of his passion, playwrights. So I was happy that he was able to produce that.
Yeah, amazing.
That's got the recognition it deserves.
Amazing work.
Okay, moving on now to the punch fuel crisis lingers at NNPC. 6 fresh $2 billion crude-backed loan. Nigerian drug baron flees South Africa, arrested in Imo mansion. Rescue abducted Kaduna journalists' families and Pantel federal government. How Emefiele awarded CBN contracts to own companies, says witnesses. Court orders forfeiture of NIMASA funds diverted under Jonathan's administration. Some more agreements. Reps demand suspension of NBA faults the same as NBA faults the same-sex allegation. 19 Nigerian airports not viable, says FAN. And NEF demands grazing reserves as Tinubu plans livestock ministry. Okay, which story are we starting with?
Okay, the MD of FAN, that's the Federal Airports Authority of Nigeria, Olubunmi Kuku, has said that only 3 out of 22 airports under his management are profitable and contribute largely to the growth of the aviation sector. She says that the nation's airports under FAN were being subsidized as they do not get passenger traffic commensurate to their operational cost. Also said that a lot of these airports need work. She said that, first of all, that the 4 out of 30 airports in the country are economically viable. They contribute 5.57 trillion to foreign trade in 51 months. The ones that are viable are the Nnamdi Azikiwe International Airport, Murtala Mohammed Airport, Kano, and Port Harcourt. Those ones contribute a sum of 529.68 billion in total exports and 5.05 trillion in imports from January 2020 to 2024. And so this also, sort of matched what the minister had mentioned also, that, we just have very few airports that are economically viable. And this is on the back of many states trying to also build their airports. They said so many are coming up in the north and the southwest, and yet, we just have only 3 or 4 that are
out of all the airports we have already.
So I think what we need to think now is it something that we can do economically? Would it make sense? Would it really improve trade? Will it really generate foreign exchange to just have airports?
Let's go on a very short break. When we come back, we continue with our review. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. We're still reviewing Punch.
Yes, so President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has hinted at creating a new Ministry of Livestock Development to, help to curb the clashes between herders and farmers. He also inaugurated the Presidential Committee on Implementation of Livestock Reforms, and were expressing readiness to implement recommendations on ranching and other livestock reforms to enhance the economy. So he chairs the committee, that's the president now, and also appointed a former chairman of the Independent National Electoral Commission, Professor Mahmood Jega, as the co-chairman of this particular committee. And they are saying that this is to establish a separate ministry called the Ministry of Livestock Development, and they will develop the economy and give people the opportunity to excel, according to him while he was giving his speech. The special advisor to the president on media and publicity, Ajurin Galile, also said this in a statement, saying that the Committee on Implementation of Livestock Reforms was to address the obstacles in the agricultural productivity in the country. And they are looking forward to, having an agenda that will ensure, with international best practices, that people are able to have their livestock in peace and, stop some of those disruptions that they've been having in that area. So he says Nigeria's farmer herder crisis, which is more pronounced in the North Central zone, has lingered for over 2 decades, claiming over 60,000 lives since 2021. And, with this livestock reform now that will be happening, they'll find a way to bring peace in that area so that people can, do their businesses. The farmers will be able to focus on their business. The livestock merchants will also be able to focus on their businesses.
Okay, so I have the Federal High Court in Lagos on Tuesday ordered the final forfeiture of the sums of $16.5 million and 127 million naira fraudulently diverted from the Nigerian Maritime Administration and Safety Agency. According to the EFCC, the funds were diverted during the administration of ex-President Goodluck Jonathan. Justice Kehinde Ogundare ordered the final forfeiture of the funds to the federal government following an application on Tuesday by the EFCC. Counsel for the EFCC, Suleiman, told the judge that funds were found to be process of illegal activities. According to the EFCC, the funds were meant for the implementation of international ship and port security projects. The judge had, on May 23, 2024, made an order temporarily forfeiting the funds following an ex parte application by the EFCC. I hope that something will finally be done. I hope these funds have not been spent because, they just keep going to prison. These monies, they don't repatriate them. We don't get them back. Most of them has been spent.
Yeah.
So, I don't understand how they keep doing the same things over and over again. I hope something.
I have a very sad story here. So Justice Roman Oshodi, was a good story. It says that Justice Roman Oshodi of the Ikeja Sexual Offences and Domestic Violence Court in Lagos yesterday sentenced a school bus driver, Michael Mowete, to life imprisonment for the defilement of a 3-year-old child.
Yes.
The judge said that the prosecution gave direct evidence as a survivor, despite her age, was able to narrate to the court how the man defiled her. According to the prosecution, the child was able to narrate that. Let me not even tell well because it's hard.
3-year-old.
So she said that when the baby got home, she told her mother that Uncle Michael touched me. And her mother was kind of brushed over, thinking maybe it's normal touch. Until she wanted to bath her in the evening. When Butter got to her private room, she now started seeing how sore it was. She was like asking her what happened. And then he said he touched me, he jumped on me,
Oh, poor child.
So all that, but I'm happy that he's been sentenced to life imprisonment. I wish he got maybe something like castration in our law. We have, there's got to be something more than life imprisonment.
Yeah, yes.
But, the justice took its course, and I'm happy that hopefully the child can be able to recover this trauma. Moving on now to the daily. So I didn't want to. It's quite heartbreaking. Food crisis. Senate warns of nationwide protest. Says food reserves empty. Reps asked the federal government to suspend implementation of the Samoa Agreement. Southeast town unions back governors' demand for Kanu's freedom. U.S. troops complete first phase of withdrawal from Niger. SANU, NASU hold nationwide protest, appeal to president over withheld salaries. NPAN worried over fate of abducted Kaduna-based journalists. Stop cursing Nigeria because of hardships, Shetima tells citizens. And FG spent 5.78 trillion on debt servicing in 9 months in 2023, says the budget office. Okay, which story are we going to say?
Yes. Okay, the Senate considered a motion tagged urgent need to address food insecurity and market exploitation of consumables in Nigeria. This was co-sponsored by Mohammed Ali Ndume. And, they were just talking about the fact that we have a food crisis. They're saying that, that they can see that there's hunger in the land. Common man is unable to get food. They see that most people really just get like 1 meal a day as it is. They are aware that, rainy season things get more expensive. But that beyond that, our reserves are empty. They said the silos are empty. Would need to import food that would need foreign exchange. So they will need to start talking to the presidency about that to see how, that can cover up for what we have. But there was a sense of apprehension, that this may lead to a serious problem. That yes, Nigerians are patient, and their patience is elastic, but it is not forever. That there will come a point where we'll see them, protesting because of this. So the government has to do something immediately. They also talked about fertilizers that had been awarded, for different constituencies, and they said they still haven't gotten it, but at the meeting as well, they said that they will get it. So there's a time limit on that. And the Senate president says that at the end of the session, says that the issues that were raised, that if they were not addressed by next week, they will compel they'll be compelled to summon the ministers of finance and agriculture so that they can come and give us.
I like that phrase.
Yeah.
Patience is the last thing.
Yeah, it is. So Vice President Kashim Shettima is counseling Nigerians against insulting the country as a result of the hardship, stating that it will be impossible for abusers to benefit from a system they have cursed. He also reminded those portraying the country as failed that it was not all glooming. He says the health, petroleum, agricultural sectors are doing well. He was speaking at the 2024 Nigerian Risk Leadership Summit and Awards with the theme Connecting Risk, Resilience and Innovation for Sustainable Growth in Abuja yesterday. So he went ahead to say that there are a lot of opportunities in Nigeria, that we should be counting our blessings, that we shouldn't put our country down. It cannot be tales of woe all the time. That as bad as things are today, even with the inflation, there are sectors that are doing incredibly well. He said the health sector is doing very well. The petroleum sector is doing well. The agri sector is doing well, especially for those who are planting cassava. That's even on the farms, they get their cassava sold before they take it out into the market. That he's not saying things are easy. That he understands that the government has, come up with a very tough reform or reforms. However, we have to position ourselves or reposition ourselves for the reform. That if you go out and say Nigeria is a shitty country, excuse my French, like he said, that you're going to get shitty results, that you cannot benefit from a country that you have.
Something you say, you preach that all the time.
Yes, we can't. And I would like us to, take the lesson from what he's saying. He's not saying that the country is all good right now. Every country in the world has their crisis one way or the other, but we must pay attention to what we say, because it's the energy that goes up into the air. We need to be very careful while we're still working and holding government accountable to do all that they have promised.
So the House of Reps yesterday urged the federal government to suspend the agreement signed recently, the Samoa Agreement, until all controversial clauses were clearly defined, to make sure they do not violate any law in Nigeria. As we said over the past few days, they've mandated the Committee on National Planning and Economic Development, Justice, Treaties, and Protocol and Agreement to interface with relevant government agencies to know the extent of the law and to ensure they reach out to the gray areas in the law to ensure that there's nowhere that is going to be violating our own laws. So, but however, the NBA, the Nigerian Bar Association, has said again, clarified that the controversial Samoa Agreement signed by Nigeria neither sought to compromise our existing legislations nor undermine the sovereignty of our country. So I don't know how many times we want to say that. So the federal government and the lawmakers are saying, please, hold on. NBA is saying, don't worry, we have checked it. It doesn't compromise our sovereignty. So it depends on how they want to go back and forth on this. Okay.
All right, then I have the Newspapers Proprietors Association of Nigeria has expressed concern over the safety of Messrs. Abdul Ghaffar and Mr. Abdul Rahim. The Kaduna State correspondents of The Nation and Blueprint newspapers, respectively, who were abducted last weekend. NPAN, in a statement by its president, Kabiru, said more worrying is the prolonged silence from the abductors, who seized the journalists along with the members of their families, including wives and children. The trauma induced on both their biological and professional families by this condemnable event are better imagined. We call on the federal government to ensure the safe return of the journalists and their families by deploying all the necessary security assets at its disposal. We stand in sympathy with the families as we pray for their safe return. We appeal to the abductors to ensure that none of them come to harm, or that they return all of them safely. I really pray that, as the federal government, please should do everything that they can. It's really terrible, and I shouldn't set a precedent moving forward.
President has passed.
God help us. President.
That era has passed.
Nigerian Tribune, our final paper this morning. Let's take a few stories that we have not taken. NDLE arrests wanted drug baron in village. Mansion recovers meth, precursors, and guns. Reps back bill seeking to reserve special slot for women in the National Assembly and state assemblies. Police to charge man who climbed 120 feet mast with attempted suicide. And SANU NASU members staged nationwide protests over withheld salaries. Okay, so who has the NDLEA? Let's take that.
I do. NDLEA has arrested who they have described as a major drug cartel behind the production, distribution of deadly psychoactive substance methamphetamine, popularly known as Nkurumiri. They arrested the leader of the syndicate. He's a 42-year-old. His name is Joaquin Mbonu and his associates in his mansion that is tucked in his village in Imo State. They said that it took NDLA weeks of surveillance, and intelligence to be able to track them down. And when they did, they found these drugs in large quantities. They also found some chemicals, and this is a precursor to that particular substance, and there were also some arms and ammunition as well on them.
Okay. That's all we can take on Front Page Review this morning. When we come back, with our hot topic of today, stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. Today we're discussing parenting as regards when is the right time to give your child a mobile phone. Many have expressed their opinion that it is crucial, especially these days where times have become quite dangerous, and it's important for you to know where your child is per time. People have expressed the importance of being able to monitor where their children are per time. However, others have said that given the situation of the world where information is easily accessible, and even adult information or lewd information is easily accessible to young people, they would rather refrain from giving their children phones. Others have said, don't even bother until you're an adult, till you're 18 years old, forget about it. What are your thoughts? You can call us on the numbers on your screen to share your own thoughts with us on why do you think it's a good idea to give a child a phone or not. You can call us on 081 0764 1679 and yeah, the numbers on your screen. So let me come to the ladies. The person on the prompter is obviously confused. All right. So what are your thoughts? I mean even recently, one of the actresses, Bisola, was discussing something similar, talking about, I think her daughter, she told her daughter initially that you get a phone at the age of 15, but then the daughter did something and she extended it for another, they're not getting it for another 1 year, And, so that is, and people, she said that people came for her, that why would you do that to your child? And she was thinking that it's my own decision. But others are saying, the fact that I gave my child a phone at the age of 10 saved her life, or saved his life, because she was able to tell me what happened, and I was able to come there to rescue my child. So people have different versions and different stories. What are your thoughts on this? Let me start with you, BC.
Okay, so for me, I don't believe there's a blanket rule on how we should raise our children. The most important thing is that we protect them, protect their innocence for as long as we can possibly, protect them. And that means those things we know that will hurt them, we take away from them. And those things that we know that would aid them, we assist them in getting. And also, it means that we must go further to play the role of observation and supervision, very important. The problem is where parents are not there to observe their children and they just allow them have access to anything to sort of compensate their absence. But with a parent who is mindful, who is there, your kids can actually have some of those gadgets and not be silly with them, right? Because before you even gave it to them in the first place, you already understand their capacities and what they are able to do. And you also put measures in place to monitor what is going on when they are there and when they are not there, right? So me personally, my kids got phones quite early. And because they needed the phones initially it was for school, and then after a while, it was the fact that the phones were just lying. So when I change my phones, the remaining ones are just lying there, and I just have to put a SIM so that if I'm outside and I'm calling, you'll be able to pick and respond and all of that. And then when it was time for me to start having conversations with them on the benefits and disadvantages of having the phones, we started having, there's no conversation I've not had with my children. We started having, in fact, when the last conversation we had when we were talking about this, they are non-binary and blah, blah, when they started mentioning names of, some of those things that I've never even heard before, and they were explaining to me, and I was getting their thoughts on some of those issues. So, and also because I realized that my children actually come wiser than their age. I think they took that from their father, right? So there are there's a sort of wisdom that they have, which when I discuss with other children that are the same age, I don't get that sort of wisdom. So I can trust them for certain things. But how did I do it to curtail them? We have times where they are able to use the phones. We have times where they drop the phone. I was having a conversation with my son a few months back, and I said, you are developing an addictive brain because you're constantly facing your game. And now I have to take that game away from you, and I give you specific times that you can have access to the game. And I also tied the phones to projects where you are able to do something and then you get an upgrade on your phone. My daughter is a published author now because I tied it to a project. My son is about to launch his product because I tied it to a project. So I'm not just giving them the phone because I want them to have access to all of those things. Whether I give them or not, they go to school, they have conversations, they can watch from other people, right? I'm tying it to something so that it means more to them than just having access to anything that you want.
Okay, let me come to you, Miriam. What are your thoughts on this issue of when is the best time to give a child phone?
Yeah. First of all, I think there's an age limit, really, when they can have access to phones and also the internet. I think with us, the reason why they got the internet early was during COVID. We had no choice but to go online at that time. And so our children got it. But personally, if we didn't have that period, my children would have stayed, much longer before they had access. So I have a 10-year-old daughter. And we went somewhere and somebody was asking her, what are your favorite TikTok songs and whatever? And she says, I'm only 10. My mom does not allow me to be on TikTok. I'm not on TikTok yet. My mom thinks I'm too young. My shoulder raised up a bit. I was like, yes, that she's able to communicate that. And she knows that in my communication of that, it's not that we hate you, we're stopping you, we don't want you to be part. She realizes because I am too young. And the conversation I had with her was there are some people who don't understand boundaries. Some people who don't understand, how to relate with young people, who will put information that is not ready for a young mind yet. I said, and they are not mommy. They don't care about your well-being. They don't care if you're happy or sad. They just want to do things because they can. And so that's why you're not ready. So I don't have a child who feels like she's missing out on anything. She just realizes, okay, I need to grow up. Even with my son, I always say to him, I said, you're only 12. Your frontal lobe is still developing. There are things we are yet to understand. So with him, it's not as easy. He is much more expressive. I have friends that already have it and things like that. But I'm also grateful for their school that allows them to have phones, but they're not connected to the internet. So you can call your parents, you can have that phone text conversations. But they also have school laptops. And school laptops are monitored, by there are different apps that they have on it. You're able to see what it is that they're doing on the laptop. You're able to monitor. The truth is, our children need guidance. Yeah. This world of phones and whatever is a big world, and we just need to raise them to a point where we feel that, they're able to, manage some of these things. Now, having done that, having had the conversation and told them, not every child is going to sit down and listen to a parent. There are some children that are rebellious. There's some children that will try it on the side. As much as I have spoken to my children, I am not 101% sure that they are, especially with my son now, that he's not trying other ways. So I also try to appeal to his sense of good judgment. That's why the conversation comes. This is the reason why. These are the things. If I see something, but it also does not stop me from random checks, I check what he's doing. So that's why I feel that the longer, for me, the best age really, I'm telling you, 18 years.
Yeah. Okay, let me come to you, Adam. Because, before COVID, many of us didn't have that internet in the house.
Yeah.
It never really was. But it's like, you can't imagine a world without not even having internet, house internet. And the kids are so used to, when there's no internet, they are screaming like, there's no internet, I don't have money. They have not paid yet. Mommy paid and I'm wondering, are you okay? They don't get ago, they don't understand it because so it's become so addictive.
Yeah, it is.
How do we curb this addiction? That's my own problem. I think just like you said, my son is constantly on the phone.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on this?
So for me, BC said, parenting skills differ, right? Yeah. But then there should be boundaries. Yes. Whatever age, first of all, certain children mature faster than others, and there should be boundaries at home. Like for my brothers and kids, when I visit them during the week, if in the evening, if I turn on TV, they'll leave the living room. And I'll say, but where are you going to? Let's watch it. They say, no, we're not allowed to watch TV.
Really?
Yeah.
Yes.
Weekdays.
We are not allowed to watch TV during the week, weekdays, as far as it's school week. Yep. We can only watch TV Friday, that's after our lesson teacher has gone.
Gone, yeah. And
then during the weekends. That is discipline. Their parents are not even around. Yeah. This is their auntie that they can say, okay, I will get away with anything. But they're the ones telling me that, Auntie Marcus, sorry. We're not allowed to watch TV during the week. I'm so impressed by that. Then, what they usually do is that when I'm around, everybody's dragging my phone because they know I have internet on my phone. And then, but I notice that what they do is that they download games. Yes. They're more focused on playing games, right? Yes, they're more focused on playing games. So I think that what parents should also do as a way to curb stuff is your kids can have a phone because, like you said, you want to be able to track your kids. You can put tracking device on the phones that don't require internet. There are ways they do these things now. As far as the numbers are linked, where the parents can always know where their kids are for safety reasons. And then use the phone that has a camera in case a child is in danger and needs to record something. But other than that, I don't see why a child should have internet on their phone that they're using to move around. Yeah. Then internet time access also at home for maybe homeworks and stuff should be monitored. So at home, there should be like a home laptop, or even when the kids have devices, we should check what they do with that.
There's a perspective that, because I know that I had seen a video with Bisola Yola was talking about something similar to this. And she was talking about the fact that, you know, her daughter, let me even read it, said her daughter had created a smart chat account on her laptop, which led to her extending it for another year. Now, some people that were criticizing her decision were suggesting that, listen, you are overdoing these things. We're in a new world. The same way when we were growing up, they will criticize you for using the microwave. Like, why can't you warm the food yourself? Or they will say, can't you wash clothes? And I'm like, I don't know how to wash clothes. I would rather use the washing machine. But they criticize you for exposing your children to microwave, exposing your children to washing machine. What will happen when they get to their husband's house? What if the husband cannot afford microwave? What if the husband cannot, stuff like that. But the world is such that has moved. Everybody's using the internet. Everybody's across the world. They're age mates. Teenagers, their age mates have phones, have TikTok. They're everywhere. So why are you making a big deal out of it? That's the conversation we'll dwell on when we come back after the break. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. So we're still discussing our culture, our environment, vis-a-vis the global culture, because many of us are practically raising our children for the world. You know, these are children that are going to be going abroad for and they just wonder when they go for summer holidays, and you are saying you cannot use your phone, and they are seeing their cousins there, and they're wondering.
Let me give you a story. So when we went, the first time I took the kids to the US, they met up with their cousins. And their cousins are younger because I started birthing earlier than my sister. And they all had tabs with internet, right? And so it was strange they were looking around like, our cousins have tabs and we don't. So while they were leaving, my sister bought them their very first tabs, right? But then it didn't have internet when we came back. So they were just using it to be able to play games and everything. And I couldn't stop them from using it because I couldn't explain to them that you're not supposed to have it because you're in Nigeria. So when we started having a conversation, the phone conversation, it was Oga that bulged first. He was the one that said, allow these kids to have it. They travel, they meet their counterparts. What we can do is to monitor. I was resisting at the time because I didn't have the energy to monitor. but he convinced me that we must monitor them. So these phones that we're going to be giving them now, we must monitor them. And I say, you're putting the work on me because you're the one that is going to your work. It's me now that is the mommy that will be left to be doing the monitoring. And I was not ready. I argued. He found a way to convince me. So I knew that the work now became double because now I have to check, I have to cross-check. And I was sort of blessed that my kids have a way of understanding my perspective. I have different conversations with them, even conversations on the universe with them. And they get it, right? So I had to explain that we must have ground rules for these phones to fly. And that's where I'm coming to. You cannot have such gadgets in your home without ground rules. And you cannot also say that if you want to, you don't want to give your kids, that's fine. But if you want to give them because of the world that they are in, they go to certain schools, they have certain conversations with their friends and all of that. And you don't want them to, I didn't want to raise children who will feel deprived of things that somebody else can use to entice them tomorrow. So what I can do is to give them that confidence that you can have it, but there are rules to the game, and you must abide by the rules, or we take it. So when we started with the phones, they have their hours where they are able to do whatever they want to do for just a few hours, and everybody drops their phone in my room. And then when we are at a table, everybody drop. In fact, I collect my husband's phone. Drop your phone in this basket. We're having family time. Because I realized that we are now missing out on conversations because everybody had to hold their gadget. So those rules are what would help you, keep the sanity while you are also not losing out on some of the things because the times are moving.
Where you said that we have to, it's about the monitoring part.
Yeah.
Because I know that I had strict rules, very strict rules. Same thing, you don't watch TV during the week. They all works, In fact, I put my help in the house as police. They know the rules when you're going to be on the tab. Auntie Blessing must be able to see what you're doing. So I don't want you to be sitting in a way where it's covered. When adults are passing, they must see what you're working on. So sit here. So, I have those rules, but unfortunately, I have not monitored. No. I've not been available, been present enough. So those rules have been lax. Because usually, during the week, I come back home and I'm seeing that the TV is on. Usually, I'm like, I'll say, why is the TV on? But now,
you're tired.
I go right upstairs. So it's about, if we're going to put certain rules, it's also about us parenting.
Yeah, doing the work.
Sure that we're doing the work to monitor, to check, to be sure that our rules are being adhered to, not just...
Or else, no need.
So with more privileges come responsibilities, definitely. The children also need to understand that. So what I think is important to do is when you say, don't do this, what should we be doing instead? So it should not only be about taking out, it should also be about putting in. This is reading time. I want you to take a book and read. So after your reading time, then you have your TV time, or after your TV time, then you have your computer time, And so it does not, so when you say you can't do this, they're not sitting there and say, okay, so what do we do now? But this is reading time, that's why we are not able to do that. This is chores time, that's why we're not able to do that. So the child needs to be involved in one thing or the other, routine. Now, concerning the phone, so we're talking about phone specifically here for this conversation. And I don't think that not having a phone at the age that my children are will make them feel left out or not at par with their mates. They have the computer. They have access to the computer. They use it for schoolwork, and they're able to, do other things with it. They watch television during television time, and they listen to the news. They read their books. In fact, for me, in my house, it's more important for them to understand that you don't need to have everything everybody has. This is your house. These are your rules. These are your values. And I hope that you're confident enough to stand with someone that says, oh, you don't have a phone. Say, yeah, in my house, we don't because of this. I feel proud about it, because there's a reason why you don't, and it's not. I
have 2 callers on the hold. Maraka first. Good morning. Thanks for calling. You're live.
Yeah, good morning, Wanda.
Go ahead, please.
Yeah. The age limit to... Hello?
We can hear you very clearly. Please go ahead.
Okay. The age limit to get cell phone to our children is between 20s and above. And I know of my daughter before we went to get her a phone. It was already 20 years old before we got admission to higher institution, because I'm making mandatory to all of them because I have 3 kids. So all of them, even my little boy who is 19 years, I have no phone. So it was fortunate that since the telephone has become to Nigeria users, everything changed in our countries. Unlike before, when we have 90 in our home, things were not so bad as it is today. Now, if you say that, it's even after that, today, most of our parents, they give their what they call this small children keyboards, just like food, and they see it. They go beyond what we are seeing as a parents. So therefore, those.
Oh, Marika, we didn't hear everything you said, but thank you so much for giving your comments. I have another caller who's been holding. Good morning. Oh, we lost that caller. Let me come to you, Amaka, because it's summertime. The kids are going on break. Parents are worried that what do I do? Because that's all they do. You go to work, the TV is on, and you're trying to put routine. We are really trying to make an effort to do this, but
you're not there.
You're not there.
Follow up.
So it's so difficult for kids to actually, my daughter has her small group of people. They call themselves Girl Power. So they now created a WhatsApp group using my own number. So I'm the one getting all the messages. Until I get home at night, I say, Auntie, your people have been chatting. Please come and take the phone. And she only talks to them when I get home.
Yeah.
But throughout the day, they're all bantering and talking. Michelle, you're not answering us now. She said, I don't get the phone until maybe 7 when my mom gets back in the evening. But I know that this is summer holiday. She's not telling me, Mommy, can you leave your phone? Can I leave my phone? It's my work phone. But the kids want to engage. They're now growing up.
Yes,
they want to have small communities, small tribes, and we see them. So it's not all bad. In fact, there was one group meeting they had. One of them was having prayer meeting. Let us pray together. They finished praying. Okay, now let us study. What have you read? And I'm wondering, it's a good thing.
Yeah.
As a parent, I'm wondering,
it can be.
Did I get, so there's always that, should we not, Amaka, what do you?
So like, I like what Mariam said in terms of like that.
Oh, Danny, can I pause you? I'm sorry. Boniface is back. Good morning, Boniface. Thanks for calling. You're live. Hello, Boniface. Good morning. Go ahead, please.
Thank you very much. What I want to say, in respect to what you said, is that other people, other children of the world are having those gadgets. The truth of the matter is that I don't compare myself with any or allow my children to be compared with other children. Your children cannot be like other children. So therefore, the best thing you should do is to do what works for you. Whatever that you see that will work for you or work for your children, go ahead and do it. Instead of you comparing your children with other people's children.
Okay.
That is not proper, and that is what I just want to say.
Thank you, Mr. Boniface. Amaka, let me come to jump in here. Your thoughts?
So like from what Mariam said, like, this is my home, this is our rules, and it's okay, right? I was raised that way. So it's not about a child having a gadget or not having a gadget. It's about the values instilled in your home. That's the most important thing here, right? Because like I have my young cousin, you met her at Cambridge, right? The sister, she's gone through, they've studied abroad, they did their masters, they're working. And then I'll tell her, I said, why are you not on any social media platform? She says, because it's not for me. It affects my mental health. There's peer pressure. It's just not for me. So I'm not interested in that. So it's important to
make her own rules.
Yeah, make her own rules. There's no peer pressure. She feels that she does not need to post anything. She does not want to see those things because they affect her. So it's important to raise kids that know who they are.
I love that.
They have certain values. So it's apart from that peer pressures or their competitions or things happening in the world, or who is your child? Does your child, like growing up as a child, I love to read. So if there was, I wasn't a TV person, I was more into books. Like my sister, the son is about 4. And they just gave him the congratulations for having read over 1,000 books.
Amazing.
As in, at 4.
Oh,
so
my
those are the
Lord.
things that, so what are you doing as a parent in your home? Like as in what values are you creating? And then it's also important to, this is something my parents did so much. I have a lot of confidence, to create that confidence in your child that regardless of what you see, my mates are smoking, they are drinking, we're teenagers, it doesn't matter. I don't drink, right? And then people say, oh, but Maka, you're so what's up? You're constant. I host a lot.
Yes,
I have a lot of drinks at home. I'm constantly giving people alcohol. But when I go out with my friends,
But you're not drinking?
Yes, but when I go out with my friends, I'm the life of the party. And people, they say, you don't drink. I'll say, no. They'll just look at me, don't. I say, yes, but I'm a fun person to be around.
Already. You're high, naturally.
I love that
Yeah.
because I think this practically concludes this conversation. Because I saw a video that the greatest gift you can give a child is self-confidence.
Yeah.
That's the great, any parent, when you give your child confidence, there is nothing that life throws at that person. They are able to decide and choose right from wrong because they know who they are. If they want to indulge, let me just take a bit of it. And they can say, I don't like alcohol. Oh, I like it, and they can choose. But they are adults. So it's not so much about, don't do this, don't give them this. It's about who that child has become, who they are. Because life, eventually, they will have the internet. Eventually, they will get the phones. Eventually.
They may even have it under your nose, you don't know.
Exactly. So the truth is that it's that self-confidence, which you should talk about, who that child is, that really helps in this matter. Let me take a few calls and we wrap up on this. Good morning, Femi. You're live. Thanks for calling.
Thanks, Mariah. Good morning.
Morning.
First time caller.
Welcome to the show.
Yeah. Quickly to this matter, yes, the children can be identified in classes. The ones who are self-actualized and are well-parented, and those that are open to the suggestions on the internet. First is, take a look at China. They didn't become the developmental and industrialized nation that they are by just allowing their children to go on TikTok and expose their bodies and be engaged in any kind of nonsense that we see our children perpetuating on the internet. Government and parents, educational institutions also have a role to play in this matter. They should, under every guise, just like the Chinese do, use the internet for the positive aspects of it at a certain age. Then the child can decide, okay, maybe at the age of 18, I don't want this kind of restrictions anymore, and they are allowed to use the general open phone. At primary school, the children are taught how to do, boards inside computers, carpentry. They enter competitions, and they post. Those are the things they are posting. Positive things can only be taught to children. If you leave them alone, they will be under the pressure either of peers or bad parents or bad friends or bad friends from the parents, and we cannot afford to leave them open. The damage is already done.
All right.
You can see what the hookup thing has caused. Children dying and being preyed upon and being murdered everywhere.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Femi. Any comments on social media as well?
Yes. So September Production says, do what suits your family. Make una borrow sense in all these decisions. What works for one may not work for another. Shikina. Virtuous Woman says, BC, monitoring is very important when it comes to young children having privileges of having a mobile phone. Don Yax TV says, children should be allowed to connect properly with parents. Phones will not support that process. Parents need to understand that it's very important to bond with their kids first. Just Reason says, as long as the children understand the values in the rules created and let them develop the sense of responsibility, as opposed to preventing them from using phones or TV, help them manage their own time. Jules says, please do your home to ensure that it works for you all. And
okay, I think we can wrap up on that. All right. So that's all we can take on this segment. I think in a nutshell, really, everybody's home is different. You do what beliefs work for you, but I think it's really crucial that all of us raise our children to have that self-confidence so that no matter what life throws at them at the time, they're able to make the right decisions. Let's go on a short break now. We come back, move on to our next topic. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. Joining us now is a 2017 Mandela Washington Fellow and founder of McNissy Collections Nigeria, with specialty in the design and manufacturing of handmade handbags and fashion accessories. Her expertise includes strategic planning, leadership, marketing, capacity building, and young empowerment. We love to have Wednesdays because that's when we bring women we love. So join us as we welcome Nneamaka Nwosisi to the show. Good to have you.
I am excited.
Yeah, better. How they call you that?
Yeah, better. They call me, I have three
Three
boys.
boys. Yeah.
3 boys. I say 3 boys, 8 going on 40.
Good to have you on the show.
Thank you, guys. I'm really, really excited to be here.
So we love bringing women like you on our Wednesday shows, especially because when we see women doing great things out there, we love to celebrate them, just show that we love when women are doing good. So let's start from the beginning. Before you got into manufacturing, got into, where did you, tell about yourself, when you went to school, how you chose what to do, your path in life.
Okay, so I was somewhere yesterday and somebody asked me, like, how did you start this? So obviously I had my first degree in Abbey State University, and then I left the country in 2004 to further my degree. So I studied a master's in social work at the University of Bristol in England. I got married in 2008. I met the love of my life. Mr. Emeka was CCO, and he didn't want to live abroad, and he was like, I had to come back. It was a struggle, a decision I had to make, but I did. My elder sister said to me, if you make all the money and build everything I know you are going to build, and you don't have a family to share it with, it will amount to nothing in the end. So I think you should go. You're a social worker. You can work anywhere in the world. Go back and try and see what you can do. I know your dream was to work for the UN and all that. Just go, let's see. So I come back, and I couldn't find work. Obviously, just the same. My story is just the same Nigerian story of a young lady moving back, getting married. 2 o'clock, you call husband. What will you eat? Says cook anything. I get angry. I'm like, okay, this is what I've done to. Just a woman. I really, that was what my life was. And how did I go into bags? My elder sister would call me. Let me import bags so you can sell, bring in diapers. 2009. I was like, I'm not going to do any of that. I did all that buying and private buying and selling when we were in school. My mom was a real businesswoman, so I would take her pins and things she made to her bar to her friends to buy. I don't want that. I want to do something purposeful. You know what the dream was for me. I went into a fusion fair in Abuja in 2010, and I saw a lady that was wrapping Ankara bags. So you asked, how did I get here? And it stuck in my head. It was my neighbor, UD, who was making jewelries at the time. So I went to her stand, and I got into this place, this big, in ICC in Abuja, big event. The fusion was so big then. And I was passing, and I saw this, and it got stuck in my head. At that time, in Nigeria, that was when the whole Ankara thing was gaining momentum. And for somebody like me who had lived in London, I lived in Bristol for 2 good years. Anytime you wear your African fabrics, people are turning and looking at you like, oh my God, so exotic. Yes, So I was, and there was this company called Design. Shout out to Ogwa Igweze. She started this business with her sister years ago, and they were the ones who were making really, she's a designer, yes. I'm in Lagos, we had tomorrow for an event we're here for. They were making really trendy pieces. Then when I still had a job, I'll go with my colleague during break, we'll drive there, look at what we want to buy, come back, be planning and packing the money to go and buy. They will make tubes and really nice things, with African pieces. And that was when we were just trying to gain momentum to actually use, wear our fabrics, So that thing stuck in my head. I started working in this new NGO, the said perfect job I was supposed to work in. Salary, 300 and something thousand, housing, something million. And the month I started working, they stopped paying salaries. So my frustration was like, oh my, I think that was a month when my husband was like, maybe it's time to go. We can manage from there. Because it was just like, I was just getting frustrated. But January, I started that NGO. I worked November, December, January. No salary. My graduation comes, I can't go for my graduation. I think that was one of the tipping points for me because I had worked myself up to the table in England. I studied this course. I remember struggling to pay my fees with my big sister, my parents, So the fact that I couldn't go for my graduation was like the tipping point at that point. I started drawing those handbags at the end of January of 2010. And my mom gave me a machine. I bring out my machine, I tried to make them, but they weren't structured. For somebody who loved handbags, when I moved back to Nigeria, I came back with 2 full garamos, 2 full bags, like 32 kg filled with bags, And my husband would be like, how? I remember the day he was going through the bags. Which one is this? I say bag. this one shoe bag. He said, you said that one is bag? I said, yes, another bag, you know? So I love bags, but I had always been a girl who loved structured bags. You know, the kind of bags where you put your key and you can leave. You don't have to stuff it to fill it. So when I thought about doing this, I started nursing the idea, made the Ankara bag. I took it out one day. It was so flabby. I had to put a book inside to give it form to go. I went out for an event and people were like, oh, this is so nice. Because it wasn't something you saw anybody trying to do. I had a pink dress on. I had this Ankara that had prints that had pink and I wore it and people were nozzing on it. But then I now go into the market. There's a guy that had repaired my shoe in Otaku Market in Abuja. Sonny is his name. Shout out to Sonny.
Like
you know? Yeah, I have to because these are literally the people who, you know, how this whole thing started. I went to him, a friend of mine, Chinenye as well. She had a boutique, so I would go to the market with her. She would buy different things to sell. And one day we went into the shop. She shopped in that Otaku Market. There was this dustbin that had damask fabrics. You know when the women make the geles, the damask, the men cut this one. They were selling it for 200 naira. They wrapped it round. But you know how exotic damask was. I brought it out and asked the girl. It was inside the bin. I said, what is this thing for? He said, it's the one that the men used to make the cap. I looked at it and I said, God, Chinenye, this is going to look really nice on a bag. He said, because she didn't know what I was doing. What I was saying. I said, I'm coming. I took it. I walked down to the guy's line. I think maybe a Basanjo line in Otaku Market or something. And I said, so I went to him. I said, Sonny, you've repaired my shoe and I saw you tearing a bag up the day I came. Do you think can you make a bag like a small clutch? He said, what do I mean? He had a clutch that he was repairing, maybe the button in his store. He brought it out and I said, yes, can you make something like this? He said, yes. I said, can you use this material if I give you? You know what to do to form it? He said, yes. I said, okay, I'll buy this and I'll get you a clutch I have. I want you to do a copy for me. Let me see if we can actually put our print on this fabric. And that was how he made it. I gave him like maybe 3,000, something weird. He told me, come back in 2 days. I came back in a week's time. And when he came, I showed him the front to the back. He still used the back to make it. But when he gave me this clutch, I was like, what? This is possible? Living in England, you know, leaving the country, and I thank God for my sister making me to leave. You know, you see the possibilities of what is there. And you live in a country where they're telling us we have to buy everything. I question that. And because I grew up in a family where if people were baking or buying cakes or they're changing, we were making them. My cousin were making outfits as beautiful as what Amaka is wearing, as far back as when I was a child. So I had too much creativity around me. So I just said no. To be buying, you know, you're buying stuff, you know, so we make and you take pride in it.
Let's get a few questions in for you, because I know that you said quite a bit already. I don't even know where to jump in, but no, but really and truly, I'll just round up. But that was how, so the basic story of how, this is how they started. Sonny was supposed to produce those things and I sell. But the normal, usual Nigerian person, I go there, nothing. And then one day, I'm coming there, they hit my car at the back, and I say, no way, I went in there. I was talking to him. I gave you money, you don't want to produce, you don't get the vision of what I want. And something said to me, you're jobless. Why are you shouting at this guy? You have been watching what he's been doing 2 weeks. Every day I leave the office, then come, remove my suit, sit down, be watching what he was doing. Why can't you go home and do the side of this bag? You can do it. I left that shop, went out, bought a hammer, bought a container, bought a brush, came back to him, told him, give me the side. He said, Auntie, the organic give me. He said, I want to do the side, give it to me. And I said, oh yeah, cut that brush for me the way you cut it for other people. I said, oh yeah, put my 15 naira gum. When I started this business with less than 5,000 naira. People don't understand it, but this is exactly what happened. I took the sides home, went back home. In less than 30 minutes, he was doing about 8 bags for me. I had finished the size of this bag. Kidding me.
I just dropped the phone and called my big sister, Onyoma, and say, Onyoma, I am going to be a shoemaker in this town. And people will ask how. I say, you can do it. I say, I'm going to make bags, and people, and literally that was how McNeese started.
No, you're kidding.
I went back to him. Yeah, I went back to him later. He finished and showed me what I needed to do to finish the bags. And I took it to this friend of mine, Ogwa I called. They were going to England for something at the Marriott, and they told me to make about 40. That was my first order.
Wow.
And when they told me to make 40, I knew no more. This one is not the one they're making in the market. I need to take this to my house. I started this business you see today in the front door of my house. When you open my door, that porch, if it rained, we packed up. My first employee was my gate man Friday.
Kidding me.
So big shout out to Friday. Yes. Friday is still the factory manager today.
Wow.
13 years later, he's grown, he's still there.
How many years later?
30. It's going to be 13. In September, we've been running this business.
Oh, my Lord.
Yes. From that, my front door, I know I hired about 7 people from that front door before I moved to the one room in my BQ and built a bacha and continued. Then the person in the other BQ moved out. We moved in there. And then like a year or 2 later, the people in the next house moved out and we moved into the next house. So it's just been organic growth.
That's the word.
You know, quiet growth. I remember having my kids 7 years later and having to also pipe down to raise mother of triplets. You know, running the business with the teething problems you find in Nigeria, having to find trusted and loyal staff who can help you build your dream. But really and truly, that is literally how my business started.
Since we started this Women Will Love, there are very few stories that really get us that Women Will Love segment. I think you totally fit that profile.
It does.
Because it's a woman who started ground up, and just like Mariam said, that's the word we're looking for, the organic growth. Because that's what your view was very organic.
Yeah.
We started
On
with
the floor,
blinking in the blank, in the dark, and we grew. And those are the kind of women we love, and we really congratulate the work you've done.
Yeah.
Mariam, I want to jump in.
Yeah, I love it. Relatable Nigerian story. Because there are many women sitting down at home right now thinking, I'm married, I have children, I don't know what to do. And then to hear, you know, there's a story, I called one uncle that is in Abuja. I called somebody that, or somebody dashed me a lot of money. But here we can hear your story of how you started one piece at a time and how, you know, your challenges helped you to build.
Yes.
And for me, your story is so inspiring because now somebody's going to sit down and has a small idea and they know what to do next and what to do next. But that's okay. You know, beyond now, here you are, you're a big name. You give your boxes out in this special yellow, you know, your bags out in these special yellow boxes. So you have upscaled. What did it take to go from that beginning to who you are now, an international brand, as far as I'm concerned?
Amen. Amen. So what did it take? I was having a conversation before I got in here, and somebody had said to me yesterday again, why, how? Because people meet me and they look at the bags. I'm not the only one making bags in Nigeria now. And I know I've inspired a whole lot. I'm in Abuja, I'm not in Lagos, because you know this is the capital hub of everything. So I see people even today copying and doing what I do. Like I'm releasing lines and people are, you know, taking it on, but I'm happy. So the lady asked me why. I've had that question, why structured bags first? I told you guys why I wanted a structured bag, because every woman wants to take a bag, leave their house, just throw their key and go. We don't have to pack everything. Our life is already heavy. But how? When I started this business, first of all, I had moved back from England, like I said. The kind of network of friends and people that were my family and friends, like maybe 4 years into this thing, I'll tell you, my friends and family don't use the McNeese bags. And that's it. I had too much, the critics I have were so much that I couldn't do anything less. It is either I was growing a global brand because all my friends were the high brand. I don't know if I'm allowed to mention the LVs, you know, I can't. The big brands, you know, the 3 million naira carry.
So they're not carrying your bag? They couldn't carry your bag?
No, even my sisters. Yes, they're here. I remember giving my big sister a tote of mine, and I got to London, and it was in her bathroom downstairs. And I said, oh, yeah, ma, this is where you left my bag. Why do you want me to keep that thing? It's a beach bag, like my tote bags that people were buying and rocking. And the only time my sister will use it is when she's going to the beach. Her children. And she lives in London, so you know this is just during the summer. I came in and I was like, so why do you want me to keep it? And I'm like, oh my God. So right from when I started, the dream had always been, I would say to them, one day you would drop your 3 million naira bags and you will be carrying mine. So there was nothing else I could do than to make sure that whatever I made was world class. The minute you tell anybody that you are a made in Nigeria brand, they start looking at you. I've told people I make my bags in Nigeria when I started, and they'll say, let me go to your factory. And I'll bring people that don't per se are not supposed to come near me just to show them. I tell my staff, you can't have a stitch out of place. I started making those things. I'm stitching. I had to learn to use an industrial machine. So I'm not a designer who is making anything that doesn't know how it started. If you see me designing telling you how a shoe is made today, you'll be like, my shoemaker still asks, Madam, who taught you? I'm like, yes, from watching, I have a very photographic memory. Anything you're wearing, I can go out and draw it. That's how my brain works, you know? But I had the critics, the people who will say, if you want us, my friends that I'll come to Lagos then, because I lived in Abuja, to stay in their house. I had my friend, Millie. Shout out to Millie. I stayed in her house for all the events I would come for in Lagos. Then she lived in VGC. She's very big now, you know, and she didn't know how to use an Ankara bag, and you can't blame people. So I'm also not the one that forces you to use it. But I come in and I'm seeing all these things. Like I can take those bags and I'm like, okay, you can have a stitch out of place if you want these people to promote you. So you had friends of mine, people telling them, so you're telling me about this girl who's doing amazing, but you're not using her bag. Where is it? So I had to make bags that the first lady...
That was at par with their
lifestyle.
Yeah, I was at the UNESCO event last year, representing Nigeria.
She tells a good story.
You have to go on a break. Actually. You have to stay market. When we come back, we continue this conversation. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. We still have our guest here, and we're just learning so much from your experience. And we said earlier before the break that this is an organic story that we love to share. BC, want to jump in?
Yes, I have a question. So, you know, listening to you, I recognized the talent and your ability to spot opportunity, which sometimes doesn't come like opportunity. It's usually covered, but then as you go in, you now realize that, okay, this is an opportunity for me to grow and, you know. And I'm wondering what you would tell a lot of women who have talents, but they are not open to seeing opportunities for whatever reason. I wouldn't want to say I give the credit to you being able to stay abroad and coming back, because we have people who have not even traveled, who have seen opportunities in their land. We are constantly packing up our bags and leaving the country, saying that the government is not doing this, this is not happening, that one is not working out well. And there are opportunities, like anybody can sit down, pay attention and see the needs of people. So what do you tell that woman who, she's got a gift in her hand, but she's waiting for somebody to come and maybe help her, or lift her up, or support her, or give her a platform to shine before she can move? What do you tell that kind of person?
So I meet those kind of women every day. And what I'll tell them is to start. Like, start. There's this thing that I laugh about with my friends today, and I will share it here because it's easy for us to see how people are. And because we're in the age of social media, people are starting things and you think it's easy, but let me say, during COVID, it was a video a friend of mine shared, and it was of this movie star walking down with her maid uniform, and they wrote, "Me going to work because I refused to dance on TikTok in 2020. Some of us were looking at those things and we think it's easy. Because for me, even to open up my private page, it took me 12 years to say, okay, I want to let people in. But going back to your question, like saying what you have in your heart, if you don't start, how would you know what will happen? When I started this thing, people that are my customers today, there's some of them, there's this particular lady, my very first fair, that I went to that walked past my table and looked like, what was that? Is a big customer of mine today. I've never bothered to tell her.
I noticed that look.
It's not today. I have people who wouldn't dare look at what I was doing. But today, if anybody told me dollar will get to where it got to, you know, there are regimes that have come and people are saying, oh, things are difficult, things are this, and we are there, steady on, just moving.
Growing.
You're talking about opportunities. We're in a land where you can drop beans on the floor and in 5 days it's germinating. And we're saying we don't have food. Okay.
Talk to me.
When we were growing up, yes, put the beans inside the pot, brown beans. By the time we come back, we used to do it in my mother's flower pot, and then they'll line us up and say, who took that beans there? Because we just couldn't imagine. So there's opportunities, and if you don't start, you will never know. Then another thing I'll say to ladies, who are your friends? A friend of mine said to me I was going for a speaking program, and I was talking to her about it. Oduinye, I'll give her, my friend Oduinye, shout out to Oduinye, she has to be mentioned. And she said to me, self-care is not manicure and pedicure. It's who are your friends? Who are you telling your dreams? Who are you telling, who are you saying, who are you talking to? Who is lying next to you on the bed? Who lets you rise? Who would see, like I have a husband that I can, most of my bags, I know sometimes my husband feels I don't listen to him. Yes, it's good that I'm saying this
stubborn
so
to
you
be
can
here.
watch.
Can we
Yes.
shout out to him?
Shout out to him. Yes, so, but sometimes he was naming bags without knowing. I'll drop something because I always want him to see. Because it's like the first person, we finish a design, they bring it to the house, I leave it there. I want to get his view. And he was just saying, maybe this is a vintage thing. Why is this like this? He's so detailed. So I want to hear what he has to say.
Yeah, was your uncle?
Yes.
Yeah, he's been my uncle. Who was my uncle? He's the person lying next to me.
Let me come to Amaka. Let me hear you. What a question.
Amaka is drooling.
Yes, I'm drooling because I love like an organic. I love when things are organically, done. Yes, materialized. And BC said something about like for women that are not doing anything and stuff. Also, women that are even doing something. Like I tell people, I have more than 3 jobs, right? Most people don't know that, like, as in, I'm living with myasthenia gravis, which I'm not supposed to have any energy at all. But then I'm doing that because I know that I'm a creative person. I'm also doing the legal job, doing everything, right? So it's not just about women that don't have jobs.
Even
when you have a job and you have a passion, or you're creative about something, or there's just something in your mind, you can juggle, you need to be able to live a life of purpose. Yes. And I can see from what you're doing that you're living a life of purpose. So my question to you is, how are you also impacting other women, other people out there to live their life of purpose? Because I see that, I know you're in town for something, and then with what you're doing now, which is made in Nigeria, which is what we're trying to promote, that so many people now are seeing what you're doing, and so many organizations are keen in, and they're paying for your lifestyle now. It's being paid for both home and abroad. When you travel, they pay for it. Your hotels is being paid for by international organizations. So how are you transferring this, your life of purpose, to other women? And then also teach us how. I would like for organizations to also enter my life. What you like to so tell us how
So I've always been the girl that people I don't know, and I hope they're watching this TV station, because I believe the world is big enough for us to play. Yeah. It's easy for you to say people are copying you or people are wanting to be like you, but I cannot make bags to even satisfy. If they say everybody in Abuja should start buying my products, and they say I need 5,000 people producing it, I cannot make bags enough to satisfy everyone. So I'm the girl that people I don't know have called, and I'll tell you where I'm buying my machines. It's been like that because I remember starting this business, and a good friend of mine as well, Elizabeth, was the one that told me how I could order proper accessories. So I am also not a lady that will tell you women are not supporting women. Because if women were not buying my bags, there would not be a McNisi today. If women were not telling their husbands, my gift is McNisi. So I share. If you know me, I share. Somebody said to me, you need to actually now have a platform where you are actually sharing more. Yeah. Because people need to meet you. Yes, I'm very busy. I'm trying to organize, structure my business. I also have my own teething behind the scenes problems of running a business in Nigeria. But I am willing to tell you, call Mr. This person in OT Ventures in Alba. That's where you can get this machine. Go to Alaba Market. There's nothing you cannot find there. A young lady, I met somebody where I was yesterday, and she was trying to talk about, I don't want a loan, I don't want to do this. And I started advising her, don't think like me, because I am also a business that has 0 liabilities. I've always, and that's what a woman does. But a man will go for that loan, equity, and use your money, because people use other people's money, True. Bank is throwing loan at me, and me, I'm like,
I don't want to.
It's TV I bought years ago and I paid for it. I don't want loan. But that's not it. Yeah. So as I'm learning, and that's why I believe that, sometime this year, I took a trip, and it was like God was telling me, you're not sharing, you're not doing what you said you were going to do. You have so much in your hands and you need to teach. Fantastic. So, Amaka, that question is more like, I will share anytime you come to me to ask me anything pertaining business. Anywhere I see, I'm always giving business advice. If we leave here now, I can tell you 10 things you can start, because I've run an organic business in Nigeria.
I love that. Let me ask you how one of the challenges people face is workers not having technical technical skills for their work to be done properly. How are you able to scale that? What did you do to retain and train workers in your own company?
So for everybody that comes to work for me, I train them. I actually tried to go to Aba to bring people who were making bags or who knew how to. But when they came, because everything is fast, I couldn't keep them. I've had my fair share of worker staff problem. And I'm not saying anything that anybody does not know in this country, because people just want to have their own. And I will always ask that question. If all of us have our own, who will
buy from who?
Who will buy from? Thank you, my sister. Who will buy? Do you understand me? So, for me, what I've done with my business is that when you come to work for me, I want to know what your plan is. I ask that thing ahead of time, because I also have to take a lot of linear workers, like people who maybe are off standard 6 that nobody's employing. So I have a good number of them in my factory. The management team are the ones who are said educated and all that. But for you to make a bag, and you can teach anybody, it took me leaving the country to know that people don't go to university outside. But once you have a SSC, that's it. Yeah. Everywhere, most of the people that were my managers, they'll tell me you're more qualified than me. So what do I do with them? I have to prepare good packages. I pay more than minimum wage. Okay. I have to ask them. You don't have to look at the person, because if you have people working for you, and you don't look at them as a person, they don't see a growth plan. I'm happy there's a Friday for people to look at. There's a Hanatu, there's an Ayuba, there's a Neroka. I have people who have been in my business, like I say, 13, 11, 10, 6. Yeah. The HR lady that was working for me would tell me, this is one business I've come in that you can use 2 hands to count people who are loyal, who are here, and it's because they can see a growth plan. If people don't see a growth plan, if you're not taking care of them, if you don't remember that they are there, they have to get married, have children, you have to provide housing. You tell people to come and work in Victoria Island, and you're not helping them to bridge the gap. It's a lie.
You have to find better ways.
Yeah, you find better ways to let them see that you see them as a person. And that's what I can do as a woman. Let them see the person. I'm also a social worker, so it doesn't come. The empathy thing.
Let me get a question. Yes, time is running out. Yeah, go ahead.
Time is running out. Okay, so, you said something when we met earlier, which is that your bags, there's some brands that you sort of provide bags for. And you talk about collaborating a lot. I can see you, the way, you're running your business. There's a lot of empathy is the word. You've used that as well. And then we live in a society where it's hugely capitalist, and you're supposed to make all the profits by yourself. How does that pay you, being more empathetic than just being focused on yourself and pushing? Does it make you less successful than someone who has the other type of mindset? Or do you think that this works best, really, for business here?
I think it's because our society tips us to maybe feel like we should compete with each other. And I know that, but I've gotten my mindset changed over time, because I know that we should collaborate more. And so there's this team called Collaborating for Prosperity. It's an event that one of us, who is a designer here in Nigeria, who is in Paris now, is trying to actually show. Is a Women Trade Connect, something that I'm going to next month in Paris, because we're actually now trying to make Forex. It's somewhere where we should be now. But we forget that collaborating means that, because Mariah has a McNissy bag, that she can tell another, like people underestimate the power of word of mouth, she can tell another 100. Yeah. Because I'm teaming up, I'm big on collaboration. I started it, I've collaborated with a good number of women, just designing bags, calling it their names, and we're selling. I started with Miss Shafi Bello, shout out to Auntie Shafi, and we should collaborate for prosperity. We shouldn't fight, because what you get from teaming up with a brand, you cannot get it. What I get from teaming up with a Yanga League, or you can't get it yourself. So we should collaborate more, because if I'm speaking about something and another person is speaking about it, it's only going to grow bigger. So we should always collaborate with one another, and it's something that I'm doing. Because if you're not collaborating, like Amaka said, I won't be in Lagos here.
Yeah. Let me take Rachel, then I'll come back to you. Rachel, thanks for calling from Abuja. You're live. Oh, we lost that call. We're in Lagos for an event, and the reason why I wanted to highlight that was because it's part of this manufacturing work that you're doing. But what is it about? Tell us what.
So I'm here for Her After. UNDP invited me to Lagos. It's going to be launched tomorrow. It's Her After, is the African Continental Trade Agreement, where they're actually now trying to push it, and they're launching the Her version because of women. Obviously, with women, they need to speak for women because, you know, if you actually empower a woman, you empower a nation.
Yeah.
So it's about us women. We're exhibiting tomorrow, showing, we're going to be meeting buyers, obviously the top people who they're inviting, ministers of trade and investment and all that. They're trying to launch this platform. What are they trying to say? We're a 1.6 billion continent, Africa, and we're not able to trade with each other. It's easier to ship a bag to England than to ship it to Tanzania.
Yeah.
And you have all these people trying to. So they're building, this agreement is supposed to be really big so that it helps us trade easily with one another. Trade, send bags
within Africa.
Within Africa, and actually utilize the power of what we have. Our market is big. A lot of people in Africa, in different African countries, want to buy from us. I have somebody who's flying in from Rwanda. They're talking about building malls where they want Nigerians, because you know our fashion is mad.
Yes.
So they want us to be there, and they want to create different brands to go there. So this is what it is. Building that platform where we are trading and it's easy for us. We're not frustrated because we want to trade with our neighbors. I have a store in Ghana. I know how hard it is for me to get things over there. So this agreement is supposed to make things, open borders, even currency, policies, so that it's easy for us to trade across with our own brothers. Yeah, it's an amazing initiative, yeah.
Good. So someone is asking here online, Jules. He says, I should find out from you how you are able to develop your low-educated staff. The people that have been working with you for,
Trainings. Trainings and motivate. I'm a motivational speaker. You must motivate them, but you must train them. We've even started it now that every 3 quarters, we should have trainings. So you train them. I have people who work with me who have maybe about 3 or 4 who have gone back to school and come back to the business.
Wow.
My operations manager, Hanatu, who is on maternity leave now, just finished school. So I gave her that time. So she goes to school Thursday. She works Friday. She stops at Thursday. Then she goes to school to improve herself and come back. Because most of them also want to. They've seen what you're doing. They've served you and they want to do better. Yeah. They should be, anybody that works for me, I tell them, you finish and you cannot start a business and work for any big company. You're a joker. Because you train them. So if she's looking for, train them. Talk to them. Find out what they want to do. If people see you invest in their future, there's nothing they cannot do for. I have my tailors now. Because people are calling me from outside the country. Amaka, we need you to help us run our lines. Production here is more affordable. Who are you going to pay $1 to produce for you in America?
You will understand.
So they want you to run their lines. So like I was telling you, I create lines for people. People don't know. We have 3 lines. We have a lower range line that we supply to a big departmental store in Nigeria. We are actually working with 2 now. And they order up to about more than 1,000 bags every month. Wow. Yes. For the lower class, we have the middle class, which is McNeese. Then we have the bigger ones also, which is that one, which is for the big people. So any cater you come, you can get something. We're also starting brands. So if a Mariah or a Miriam wants to start her line tomorrow, we are manufacturers. We work with government organizations.
Government said they were going to be giving manufacturers 7 billion or something billion.
I hope I'm involved. I hope I'm here. I'm waiting because we need a bigger factory. Yeah, so as I'm here, yes, I applied for something and I hope I am going to be called because I know that McNeese can hire 1,000, 2,000 people. We can create my factory. Yes, to employ more. There's so many people that knock on my factory door. Are we hiring? Yes.
People need jobs.
Yes, people who need jobs. So this is a business that can, with this, even this African Continental Trade Agreement that they have now, where we can move things with land.
Okay, so yeah, so I know you keep saying women, but then like as in when I came home with my bag and my brother said, what do you mean? So that McNeese does not even have something for men, or even wallet or something. And I say, they have. And I say, even laptop bag or something. You just came back here, shared a
handbags.
When she wants to talk about that, she come and pay TVC for that one. We're talking about her billion manufacturing.
But we have things for men. I've had men working because I don't joke with men. No. They're the ones that have serious money. They come in, they can buy them bags. No.
And they don't price.
And they don't price. They don't price. So you just tell them. They just say, send
your account details.
I'll send my wife's number. Call her, let her pick. 300K.
And I drop.
Daddy. I have things for men. They have laptop bags.
Let me go ahead, please, Miriam.
You know what? Maybe more picking of your brain. So these international brands that everybody wants to own, and really for me, I see it more as a, just aspirational. Yes, status symbol. Like, what can we do? What do you think they have done over the years or they are doing that we can now translate to our Nigerian brand? Because for me, holding your Magnesi's bag is a status symbol for me in some way. You know, I have a friend that, you know, we share in common, sent me all her bags that she got from you, and she was comparing it with her international bags. And since they are, you know, at par with each other. So what do you think we need to do?
I think what they have done, which somebody quite upset to me, these people outside the country, they are not shooting with Magnesi bags for the Hollywood movies. I can say that. They're using their own. So imagine where all our movie stars are not rubbing all those things on our faces. That's why Anti-Shafi is like a big, you know, people who support. If our movie stars start supporting us, that's one. If our government down to, you can imagine when Mr. President Obasanjo came and said, that was how Ankara came now. Everybody should start using made in Nigeria. I know governors that came in and said that the only thing they wear
is Nigerian.
You can imagine if where people are not robbing imported, because it's crazy the amount of things that they dump on us and they're telling us to manufacture and they are not helping us. I met a minister in Rwanda when I went for the Chogom event, and he said to me, if I was a minister of your Kini, I would ban certain things. Because if you tell us to produce, and you know that if we are producing, we have taken enough of these people's own, how are we export? Is that not the reason why our dollar is what it is? And the government and the ministers and people who like you people now, see, I'm seeing Magnesi bags
everywhere.
Carry it. And not just Magnesi, there are so many designers. We're the designers. That is how to put us out there. So that the international brands, we're going to Paris because people want Nigerian fashion for this WTC event, the World International Women Trade Connect. They want our Ashoke. Have you seen a Magnesi Ashoke bag? Have you seen the Femi handbags of the world who are making bags that are, you know, if we can do that, the international will start. Beyonce will carry Magnesi back tomorrow.
Yes. I just want to add that I think we just need to go back to believing in ourselves and our capacities. Because I've seen quite a number of rich women who do not do all these designer things. They don't carry it. They walk into a store and buy what they can use and all of that. So I know it's a form of status symbol to show that I don't reach that level where I feel carry this one. But you don't need that. That doesn't validate who you are. You are bigger than some of those things. So if we can begin to believe in ourselves, it shouldn't be a big deal walking into an African store and picking what is useful for you and using it.
As much as I agree with you, I want us to have our status symbol. So that someone in America or Paris carries it, feels aspires to our Nigerian brand.
Of course. We don't have time.
Sorry, but I want to buttress what they said. Even though they want to carry made in Nigeria, please be intentional about your finishing and quality. Because the reason why we're all hyping her brand is because she has taken time to finish it.
And there's some people who also don't want the finishing. They're okay with what it is.
Yes, they're different levels. We have China now.
I was talking to somebody about Nigerian movies, and there was a movie I was watching, and after I just stood up, I left.
Okay.
I said, Mariah, that movie that's yours.
It's selling
numbers.
Yes, so
people are watching it across Africa.
Yes.
That one you feel like it just. So everybody has
their range.
Everybody has
category.
But our Oga, your Odogu, tell us about him.
Silencer.
Tell us about him. Is he tall, dark, handsome?
Is it silencer?
Is it the bank roller? Is he what is
my husband is a bloke.
Onitsha man. He can do competition for you.
This artist rubbing it in Onitsha man.
Yes, I brought that.
He will dress and come out and say, is this like this today? Because me, I'm always going to factory, so I can look at it. It takes time for me to make up like this. But my husband, he's an amazing man. You know, the man that supports me, because that's another thing that we can't say a lot. Like today, my son received an award in school, but I'm here for this event, he had to go. So having somebody who propels you and pushes you to actually be better and supports you, you know, that's another thing, because you can say this thing that we're promoting women. If women don't have appropriate support, we are the mothers. My children, as I was leaving yesterday, one of them said, "You're not going anywhere." I got here once, said, "The next trip you are taking, we are going with you." And I'm like, it's okay. I just keep it. But my husband is able to, because we don't actually travel together. If he's out, I'm in. If I'm in, that's when he can go because of the kids, you know. So
you have 3 boys, same age.
I have 3 plates, yes, same age.
I know you don't have one after. I don't have a girl.
I don't have any.
You finish.
Girl.
Close shop.
Sis,
you don't have
is it 3 children? This economy.
You don't want
don't know. I'm
Economy
going to
has
work
got
for the
nothing
road.
on you.
Would you have work for the road?
There's no for the road here.
Just got an inspiration from heaven.
There's work for the road.
That by 9 months today, we shall celebrate.
I have too many daughters too, and that's what's something I need to also say here. So I have adopted daughters. I have to, you can imagine when I have a factory that has more than 40, sometimes 50. We're trying to grow more than that. I have too many children. I'm talking to too many children.
Mother Abraham.
As in, I have adopted, I have seconded, I have everything.
Thank you so much.
There's no way.
Thank you for coming here. Really appreciate you. You really shared a true Nigerian story with us. And we are so grateful for your opportunity. And we're here to support you in any way you want. We're always here to We're here to push you forward and, in any way. So we're really glad. Thank you very much for sharing your story with us this morning.
Thank you for having me. God bless all of you.
Bless
all
you
the
too.
women of the view and propel you. Thank you.
That's all we can take on today's show. Hope you learned a few things as we have. Have a great day. We'll see you tomorrow. Bye for now.